live. GM friends.
GM, G-Chomp, guys.
G-Chomp. All right. Okay. 2 seconds, folks. We're just getting set up here, letting the world know that we are on it.
Oh, I also, while you're doing that, I want to say,
Mhm.
2 really good chats with Adrian. I thought she was great.
Oh,
From the
yes.
team. Yeah.
Yes. I'm really excited. We're cooking up a lot of stuff on the AI front, and I think,
Okay.
it'll be good. It'll be good.
Nice.
Yeah, those we're live. If you don't mind retweeting as well, Kiko, that'll be
Okay.
great.
Will do. I'm gonna do it on my phone.
About the future of information markets. Boom. Gonna be okay. Boom, boom, boom. All right. I think I put it out into a couple different chats.
Yep.
All right.
And then I can actually use Chomp's account to retweet it as well. Give me 1 second.
Let's go. Let's let the world know. Boom, boom, boom. Kept moving.
All right.
All right. We good to go?
Hi. How are we doing? Paulina, it's
Let's
my
get
first
into
time
it.
meeting you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's nice to meet you.
Good. Yeah. Pretty exciting time. My co-founder is actually staying on my couch for this week because we're getting ready to go to Accelerate, which is in New York, where I'll see you, Blake.
Yes.
Yeah, so I like for those of you who don't know who I am, I've been building in Solana for a long time, right? For 4 years. And lately I've been doing a lot of MCing for Solana. So it started with me being the opening MC for Breakpoint at Singapore last year.
I
And then
remember that. That was
also,
great. You crushed it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I actually made a mistake. I don't know if you noticed on stage. I was like, Balaji is coming in 30 minutes, but actually it's 30 seconds. And then people started leaving and people freaked out. But everything else was fine. And then MC'd
It
Hacker
happens.
House. And then this time for Accelerate on Thursday, I'll be MCing the West Coast stage. So like one of the more vibe, relaxed stage, as opposed to the East
Yes.
Coast stage, which is like financial policy. Yeah.
Ooh. So less
So we'll be
pressure.
doing that.
Less pressure. I'm
Mhm.
excited. Yeah.
Less pressure, like more on brand to what we're building
Yes.
as well. Yeah. So excited
Makes
about
sense.
that.
I love it.
Awesome.
Well, real quick before we dive into things, I actually there's a bit of I want to let everyone know. Welcome everyone. We kind of dove straight into it. This is Chain Reactions. It's our weekly live stream and podcast where we interview founders, heads of marketing at some of the top projects, protocols, dexes, and everything in between within the ecosystem. So really excited to have Kiko on today from Chomp. She already kind of gave a nice little intro on the latest and greatest. It is a fun time. We're live streaming this today, but we're going to publish this on podcast next week during Solana Accelerate. So I think it's
Okay.
just very appropriate timing for all of us here. So, and then I'm joined here with my lovely co-host Paulina. How you doing, Paulina?
Hi.
She's doing good. And I think with that, Kiko, would love for you to kind of introduce yourself. I know we kind of talked a little bit about all the stuff you're doing in Solana, but would love to kind of rewind and bring it back to, how did you get to this place?
Yeah.
What's the origin story? Maybe a little bit outside of crypto and then how you got in, and then within Solana, how that's, and how we got to this point, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah. So I would say, like, depending on who you ask, I would say I'm like relatively new to crypto in a way. I've been a part of the ecosystem since 2021. which it is 4 years ago, but our industry is also progressing, right, and has a short history now. So before crypto, I had like a 10-year career in other parts of the world, literally and also figuratively. So I started off as a product manager at Mattel. So Barbies, Hot Wheel, watching the Barbie movie is actually like a really great moment because Mattel had been talking about being more innovative, like being closer to its audience for a long time, like experimenting with different digital avenues. But Barbie movie was like the first one that really kind of knocked it out of the park. I was a part of their internal kind of applications team, and I designed a internal iPad application that was used by 15 different markets for sales and marketing. And then I was a regular consultant at Deloitte, and then I actually spent 3.5 years building education products. So helping actually kids age 13 to 22 to think about how they can like improve their soft skills, their critical thinking, their understanding of themselves and also of the world to help them actually go abroad and like be more acclimated, more easily assimilated to a Western environment, mostly in like US colleges or master's programs. And then I worked at IDEO, which is a design consultancy that uses human-centered design to do a lot of different consulting projects. And actually, one of the people I worked with back then just became the global CEO of IDEO. Like it was just announced like a week ago. Yeah, so
Congrats to him or her.
yeah,
Him.
him. So he used to lead the Tokyo studio. And I was working at the Shanghai studio. So those were the two that were in Asia. And that is where I got into crypto because one of my colleagues, who is an interaction designer at IDEO Tokyo, she, her and I met like 2 years prior. And then randomly she sent an email to everyone and said, I'm going to go, build this decks on this thing, which are like all foreign words to me. And she was like, goodbye, guys. I'm going to go do that now.
She's like, I'm out.
Yeah. I was like, what is this thing? So I emailed her. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what is this new thing? I don't get it. And then she said, get more words I don't get. And she's like, actually, I'm looking for like help. Like, I want someone that speaks Chinese because like, lots of Chinese whales, right? So she went to build Orca, the decks. And I was like, I don't know anything about crypto, probably like not a good fit. And then 2 months later, she's like, but we actually don't have anyone that has a business background. So can you just come and do like regular company building stuff, like the books, like internal business operations, and then you can learn about crypto and then we can see like where things go. So yeah, I joined as Orca's first business hire or like a fourth team member. So 2 co-founders, 1 dev, and then me in May of 21. And I started to really, really enjoy kind of a lot of things that crypto represents, which to me is permissionlessness, like trustless coordination, the ability to come to consensus in kind of more incentive aligned ways, and the ability to provide like financial or like even other forms of access to people that don't have a bank or like they only have a phone, and now there are ways for them to receive information and capital with this new technology that we have. So yeah, I became like fully bought in, really loved the people. And then you and I met when I was deciding to leave Orca. I did not know what I wanted to do.
And that's been a
And
fun journey to watch ever since.
yeah,
And
what are your thoughts? What do you think? Turning over the mic to you, Blake. Like,
I love it.
how have you witnessed my journey so far? Building.
How has Kiko changed?
I like it. No, I like a little role reversal, switch things up. I mean, I was really impressed, honestly, and better understand your background coming from IDEO really helps me understand why I think you have been able to build through the bear, and now the like bad, like worst bull market ever / we're so back. I don't know, right? Like
Yeah.
weird market conditions. But I do remember when you're first kicking it off, I was pretty impressed watching you go through so much user research, really narrowing in on your personas and really thinking through like what could this be? What are the concepts? Testing out real MVPs, and like I was like, this girl's amazing at Figma. Like, she's got all the prototypes like ready to go, and And
Someone else made that. I just drew it on a piece of paper and I gave it to someone who's actually good at it.
Wait. Explain to me as an outsider and like everyone else, what was happening here? Like, so you decided to leave Orca and you were like, I want to do something on my own, and then what
Take us through
happened
that
there?
journey.
Like
I
a
think
light
there's a lot
bulb
of
moment?
interesting.
I actually wouldn't say, I don't know if I would call it a light bulb moment. I would say um, I I felt like even before the journey, what like after I told you about it, you'll see that I've never really wanted to, nor in reality worked really close to money. Like it was always about all of my roles, regardless of which company I was at, was about like coordinating for better outcomes. Like how do I get everyone to like be on the same level of understanding? How do I push towards like better kind of like for a student, it's like how do they gain more confidence in themselves? How do they better communicate in a more trustworthy way? And then when I was at IDEO, it's like how do I get the client, our designers, or the government to come to the same understanding about what is valuable, what is not, and like pushing to a better outcome. And I always wanted to do things like that. And it's like very communication, information dense, trust building, and I did not intend to even my decision of working at Orca is to help Ori, right? Is to like say like there are certain things they want to communicate. They don't have the right language on the business side. How do I, come in here and like help them negotiate this fundraising round? Right? How do I talk to certain partners that are difficult to talk to? How do I talk to the community when there's like a FUD that I can turn them around? So the intent has always been actually pretty similar, which is using like different ways of communicating information to build better outcomes. And after working at Orca for a while, I think I became growingly like it became more apparent to me that I don't want to build a DEX. Like I didn't want to build for DeFi, and I wanted to build something that touches like has that level of interaction with humans and information. And at the same time, like with AI, you guys talked about doing a lot with AI. AI is an opportunity in many, many different ways. It's an opportunity in allowing workflows to go faster, right? Allowing to produce a lot of information, but it's also an opportunity for a lot of information overload and an opportunity for people who are opportunists to take this technology and use it in ways that clouds your judgment, that confuses you. And we're seeing more and more AI generated content that people just take at face value, right? Before it was still being produced by individuals, but now it's just like you can do it so much faster and so much more. So it's especially if you look at like a lot of ChatGPT's recent output, right? There's no human touch in there. They're just agreeing with you. There's that one about Hitler, right? Like my name is Hitler. I did all of these horrible things, and then the ChatGPT's response is like, "Good for you." Of course you should be doing that, or something like that. It was really weird. So AI is going to want to be more ethical and improve its output, but it doesn't have the ability to actually compute and like create more structured opinionated information. It doesn't have an opinion, at least right now. It's going to always want to be more human-like and give more human-like opinions. And at the same time, when we are looking for information, yes, a lot of times we're looking for facts, but most of the time, if you think about it, you're looking for opinions that you can trust. Where should I travel? What is the best place to eat at the restaurant, right? Which handbag, should I be carrying tonight? Is this guy or girl into me or not? Like he told me it's not me, it's him. Like, is he for real or is he just like lying to me? I don't know, right? So there are, and if you look at like TikTok videos, YouTube videos, Instagram, everyone is seeking opinions from other people. But how can we create a more trustworthy way of giving you that opinion, creating better information that helps you, but in a trustless way? So like one example is we saw community notes as like a product that everyone look to if they don't know what is right or wrong on Twitter, right? I don't want to call it X. I just call it on Twitter. I just call it Twitter. But you also see Elon Musk manipulating that outcome like in plain sight. like you see that when Polymarket says something about Elon, right? Elon will like get the community nodes army to like correct that tweet. You see that like him driving the narrative in the way that he feels like is like more accurate, right, from his mind, not really what the community knows intended. And
just so hypocritical. It's so backward. Yeah.
And it shows us how problematic it can be if something that's meant to provide more trust is built in a in an opaque environment and is owned by one business. So the bigger question is, how do we build some kind of engine for creating more trustworthy, opinionated information in a trust minimized way? And that trust minimized way happens when you build it on chain and allow other people to interact with it and correct it, govern it. And making it trustworthy happens when you put a market on it. So I think we all know this, right? Like when there are different forms of market-based decisions, but when there is skin in the game, when there is a free market or some kind of market formation going on, usually the outcome can become more trustworthy. So you see that with Polymarket, right? You see that with a lot of different prediction markets. Last November, Vitalik wrote something about InfoFi and coined that term. But right now, the way InfoFi is being played out, we see it mostly in Kito, right? So Kito, I think is a great product. I think is allowing for new ways of capital formation, but I also see it sometimes exacerbating certain existing like issues in the ecosystem.
You mean yapping just to yap and people farming and we can just be honest about it,
yapping just to yap, farming just to farm. Like you're making KOL around a commodity and making it and it continues to not provide access to more people though, because the top yappers are still the ones with the most followers, and the projects that can get on Yap are still the people that can afford to get on Yap, which is not cheap, right? So you're creating this divide, which in my opinion is counter the ethos that I believe in about what blockchain can achieve. So we wanted to find a way to not do that. And I met my co-founder in like August, September of last year. Sorry, not last year, 23. Actually, Blake, you know him too, right? Isaac.
Yeah.
And so we were looking for a way to build something that can achieve this goal. And we were looking for the best form factor, because in order for this type of information market to form and to scale, people need to like willingly want to share their opinions and want to validate each other's opinions on this platform, right? So what Blake witnessed was me drawing a lot like on FigJam, and then asking our designer friend who has been working with us till this day to turn them into like clickable prototypes, and then testing it with we did 30 individual users, about 50 hours of user research. And what we learned is that form factor was not good. And we spent like 2 weeks doing that, and that the form factor looks a lot more like a Reddit and a Quora. And people's feedbacks were, okay, I see why this information is helpful. I want to use it for education, personal finance, travel and leisure, like all of these things, because I want other people's opinion and I want to know it's more trustworthy. But I don't want to be doing this. Like, I don't want to spend hours on this, because that would just be the same as me researching right now. So one of our users said, interviewee said, how can I, play with something like this when I'm like taking a dump, when I'm on the toilet? And that was maybe like you said, the light bulb moment, because we're looking at our product at the time. We're like, oh, well, you cannot take a dump and do this, right? It's like too much thinking. So then we
too
went
mid
to
curve.
look.
You got to left curve it more.
Yeah. We went to look for things that are like so easy that you can like, take a shit and do at the same time, or like, like I don't know what you guys do. When I'm taking a dump, I look through Instagram, right, or like TikTok. I'm just like flicking, and I'm like, haha, this is funny or whatever. So we wanted to build something like that, but it still has this element of creating better information. So that's how we and my co-founder found a set of actually research that was published on Nature, is done by MIT scholars. One of them is a professor at UPenn, really close to where I currently live. The other one is still at MIT. So they have been working on wisdom of the crowd and like creating better subjective information for decades. So they have there's two pieces of research they've done. One is called surprisingly popular algorithm. The other one is called Bayesian truth theorem, which is going to be in our future version of the market design. And we took those research and we turned it into the underlying mechanics of this game of Chomp.
So how does it work?
Okay, so here's a question that has been tested before. That's pretty interesting. So do you use Hyperliquid?
Yeah.
Yeah, Blake, do you use Hyperliquid?
No.
Okay.
I've used it in the past. I haven't used it.
And then the second question is, what percentage of people do you think use Hyperliquid from 0 to 100%?
I would say
no.
Yeah,
in
crypto users?
in crypto, because our current app, you need to
I would
have some
bet
crypto. It's in the wallet.
30. I would bet 30%, maybe. Maybe I think that might be high. I'd maybe go 10 to 15%, maybe. Yeah.
I would
If
say
that.
25.
Okay, so what? So that's the percentage that you think the crowd is using it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was actually something that one of our investors did in their team. So he asked his investor cohort, I see, do you use Hyperliquid? Do you think other people are using Hyperliquid? So what they found out is they're not using Hyperliquid themselves, but they think a large percentage of other people are using Hyperliquid.
Everyone thinks everyone else is using it, but nobody's using it.
Yeah. So what happens is what we think, so that's our first order answer, is lower than what we think others think, which is our second order answer. So there's a higher expected outcome of people, yes, using Hyperliquid than the actual outcome of people actually using Hyperliquid. So there is a difference between expectation and reality. And when that difference is a positive delta, when you put that through our algorithm, the answer is actually the opposite answer. Is no, on aggregate, people are not using Hyperliquid. Or another way to interpret it is people are not using it as much as you might think.
Right.
So now imagine I'm asking this question because I'm trading the token. That gives me a piece of information about the expected value of this token and the usage of this product. And now imagine I am Hyperliquid myself. That tells me my marketing is on point, right? Everyone thinks everyone's using it, but my conversion funnel is not great because people are not actually using it. So then that gives me more information for my decision. And now imagine I'm a Hyperliquid competitor. I will be like, okay, it's just their marketing. I can still compete, right? There are still things that allows us to make different decisions. So if I'm an individual, I might make a trading decision. I might make a usage decision. If I'm Hyperliquid myself, I might be making a down funnel decision. If I am a Hyperliquid competitor, I might be asking a new set of questions to that same audience and say, okay, you said you don't use Hyperliquid. What if we tweaked these communication? What if we tweaked these features? Are you going to be more or less likely to use this product? And that can inform my marketing, my product decisions, and so on and so forth. So that's an example of how one question can just be a random thing that you play around. And then on a retail side, I'll be like, oh, I wonder if what other people are saying. So I will go look at that answer. But there's also very clear business outcomes that can come out of this one question.
Okay. No, this is very interesting. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
But it's a game, right? It's just a quiz game.
I think because I think some really good nuggets in there, right? And I think a really good thesis on the future of information markets, why this stuff matters, and more about the algorithm. But I think actually what we could do is I think it's always best to show, not tell. And I think with
Chomp, we can play one together.
Share, just do it. So I've earned some points. I don't have a streak right now, but this is just one of the personal accounts I have.
What does a streak mean? You have to get it right, or you mean you have to do it daily?
You just participate.
But it's only Solana based, right? It's only on Solana.
Right now it is. I will share some changes later.
Some alpha.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So, but let's try it out real quick, right?
Do you
So,
have any
okay.
Soul in your wallet?
Yeah, I have plenty of Soul in this wallet. Yeah.
Okay, so we can do Are You a Karen or maybe something.
Okay. All right, let's try it. So
I love
so I
that.
think it's the simplest form of it, right? It's really
Yeah.
like a card game based gamification dynamic to create
Yeah.
more efficient information markets for that reason. And there's benefits
Yeah.
for companies, protocols, communities, because you can get the most accurate outcome. Because when you have to bet money on, or I guess, am I betting here? Actually, that's the question, right? So it's like, how's it? Oh, so I need to
Most
top up credits, right?
Yeah,
So,
most people, you don't have to do it there. You can just like close that and just
okay.
click buy 12
Oh,
credits because it's very cheap. So if you look at it,
okay.
it's 0.006 Soul for 12 credits.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
barrier of entry
And the
is
smart thing is it's
low.
in Seoul, so I'm like, I don't even know what dollar amount that is, but it's not much. So yeah.
It's
Nice.
okay. It's
Okay.
cheap. Just buy
So
Yeah.
it.
you have
It's
just experienced the speed of Solana. Now you can begin deck. You
okay.
just
So I just
made
bought
a purchase.
my credits. Am I being a dick or am I being reasonable or too entitled? All right. So begin deck.
It's
You
user
order,
testing in real time.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, you're getting feedback. You ordered a coffee with oat milk, but they gave you a regular milk. You demand a new one and ask for a discount. Wait, don't bias my answers here. Hold on. You can answer after. Did anyone discount? No, I wouldn't ask for a discount. I would just say fix it and give me okay. And see, this is what we're talking about. What is my bet on other people?
Mm.
This is hard to do live too. I'm like thinking that. And there's a timer. I'm like, ah!
So shout
If
out to Mark and Sunny. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
them. They do live
Mhm.
streams and they just like randomly chomp on their live
Oh, I love
streams.
that. That's good content. You should
Yeah,
just do that
Paulina,
regularly.
what do you
Yeah.
think? Yeah.
Yeah, you guys help
for
me. We
this
can do this
one,
together.
I'm honestly because my initial like gut feeling
5
was totally
seconds,
a
4
Karen.
seconds.
Ah, all right, I'm jumping.
Yeah,
All
there's a
right, I said
timer.
40.
There's a timer. So
For
we
this
have a
reason,
timer. Yeah, go ahead.
your neighbor mows their lawn at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. You ask them to stop it, or you'll call the cops. That's again, it's you know what
What?
it is. It's always like half in between. I would ask them to stop, but I wouldn't say I'll call the cops. So
I
that
would
is where
say
I'm
this
like,
is very
that's Karen
American.
behavior.
Like the questions are super like US market based. This never
Mm,
happens like around here, I would say.
yeah, yeah.
Well, you don't have many lawns in Malta, Paulina.
Yeah.
Oh, Malta's beautiful though.
Yeah. Okay, I do think
No
it's about
grass.
50%. You see a sign in the store saying no pets allowed, but you insist on bringing in your small dog unit. That is Karen behavior. There's a lot of
Yeah.
Karen behavior.
This is
But I don't know. I'm gonna go higher here. I think let's go at
yeah,
60.
more like 70.
I think
Yeah.
most people would agree to this.
Mm.
At the airport. Oh, I mean, yes, that actually is like a law, so it's
A
totally
lot of people do
justified.
that at the airports.
I
Yeah.
would
Well, it's
not.
yeah. I think it's totally justified.
I think it
Um,
happens all the time.
I mean, I've never done it, but it is. I believe there's like a law. I think it's after 6 hours, I guess. So, whatever. You're at theme
So
park,
Oh,
anime cuts in line. You
justified.
loudly.
I
Hold on,
hate
let me
this.
finish this and then. You're yes, 100%. I've actually done this
Like
to people. I'm just gonna go 100, and if not, I lose faith in people. Just kidding. I don't think it's. You're in a busy store, and an employee tells you they're out of night, and you demand they check the bag. Wait. Oh,
huh?
like you're telling. Oh, and you can skip too, which is
you
interesting.
can skip.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Justified probably, but very low like
Yeah,
percent.
I think it's
I don't know. I think
justified,
it's
but
justified.
yeah. Okay.
Unless if you really want the item, like you came for the shop, like to the shop to get it, then yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
Anyways,
Okay.
okay, so there's a deck and then it reveals in 3 hours. I'll explain why it takes you
Ah,
3 hours
yeah.
because so right now our decks are we sometimes do flash decks that reveals in like an
hmm
hour or like in 30 minutes. We also have like 1 to 3 days of reveal time. We do this because um based on like I said, based on what people each of your input is, our results could change. So while we're
hmm
waiting for everyone's input to come in, we don't want to reveal the answer. That's like one reason. And we can, in fact, actually compute some kind of answer with just 3 input. But of course, the more number of input comes in, the more accurate it is. So you can go into history if you want. And then the history shows you like results that you've either answered before or not answered. It's all free to reveal. It's just that if you did not participate in that deck, you will not have any payout. So here, this is when you participated, you see that you got certain things right or wrong. So yeah, you got 3 right, 2 wrong. And then you can click into it and then it will give you like an analysis and breakdown. So it will tell you, we just did this. This is like as new as yesterday. We just pushed out this new answer page. It tells you how close you are to the right answer and how other people have responded to this, both on first order and second order.
So wait, so
a
are we
right
saying
answer would be defined, like for example,
so
current behavior.
Just to clarify, right? The question was I blank. Oh, I would or wouldn't be interested in compete or participate in a approach training competition. I said I would, and you're saying that of the 137 people who responded, close to 79% said they would. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I see. And then, but see, my prediction was off because it says this shows how. So this is the aggregate what everyone thought, and then basically I went too high. Basically, is that correct?
Yeah, you were not within the payout percentage. Yeah.
What is the payout percent? Is that different each time, or
it's different each time because we give a second order payout for the most, like the closest 40% cluster. So that means like you have fallen out of the 40% cluster. That means the cluster was really tight. It was probably between like, like 30, sorry. It was probably like between 55% or 65% for that middle 40%. So then you fell out of that cluster. There are certain questions where people are very, very divided. So you could be pretty far and you're still a part of that cluster.
This is cool.
Okay.
Now I feel like the more I understand, the more I'm interested. Yes, Polina, please go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
You mentioned that this all started sort of because you wanted, because people want opinions, and then AI is not able to get you the right opinions, and then there are like fractionalized and whatever, not on chain. How would it work here? Like, for example, if I would want opinion, like you said, what purse am I going to wear?
You would click on ask, which is at the bottom right.
Okay. So it's like a social network also.
Yeah.
You can create your own thing.
Yeah. We just launched this yesterday as well.
Should we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show up right away. It doesn't show up right away because we need to monitor. You need to moderate, or you get questions like, just a tip or all the way, this type of stuff. Which is like, we can put it in like a not safe for work, but right now we're still monitoring how people are asking questions. We have like a backend dashboard where we see all the user submitted questions, and like sometimes we will like rephrase it a little bit to make it more clear. Sometimes like we may not use it because it doesn't make sense or like it's too risque. But that part of the selection process will actually also become more crowdsourced very, very soon, because imagine you ask the question, Polina, and then that actually turns into its own quiz deck. And it will be like, do I want to see the answer of this question? Yes, no. Do I think this question is safe for work? Yes, no. And would I pay? Like a very few criterias, and then we can use that to actually do a community moderation using the game mechanic.
And when I create a question, right, I create a deck, do I also put like a prize of credits for those people who participate?
Right now you don't. In the future, you can. In the future, there are ways. So for example, I want an answer to something and I want it like sooner than others, right? So I set it really short, but then I can add additional prizes if I want a lot of participation. So there is a little bit of like a kind of like a market competition there in the future. If you wanted to compete for attention within this economy, you can add more things. So in the future, you can add with like Chomp's own future token. You can probably also add like maybe fiat or like in-game currency, as like extra prize as well.
Yeah, because I'm thinking, each quiz costs me credits, and if it's some random quiz, why would I want to put my precious soul into something like,
because the closer you are to the answer, the more you can potentially 2x.
That is the answer that I want.
Yeah. And in Isaac, my co-founder's new version of the market design, you can potentially 20 or 30x. There's like one scenario in his simulation where a user, like a past user on a past answer, actually 50x. It's unlikely, but it's possible. So
okay.
So he's improving on the market design, which allows for people to, what's up?
Sorry to interrupt, guys, but I just bought some credits for the daily deck, and I'm trying to answer, but now the confirm is having a bug.
Oh,
but now I'm scared of.
Click the sliding scale. The sliding scale again. Oh, interesting.
Oh, it's stuck. Okay, but if I refresh, is it? We literally have a recording of this. So I should have the credits. Oh yeah, see, it still says 8 credits. Okay, so I think it just like bugged out a little bit, but that's okay. Oh, it just skipped the second. Okay, because I answered this first question. Sorry, back to you guys.
Okay, so if you click now, can you move forward?
Now it's user research.
Yeah. What effect worries you most about this tariff truth? Prolonged market certainty. Yeah. Okay. So how many people do I think? Okay, now it's working.
Okay, it's working now. Okay.
Okay. Sorry, back to you guys.
We pushed out 2 releases yesterday, so there's a little bit of like maybe like some like related stuff was like impacted. But yeah, sorry.
But overall, seems super smooth. Like, to be honest, like the design and everything. I'm curious, going back to the chain, and Solana, I guess, was an obvious maybe choice for you coming from Orca, but I'm curious of your thinking there and how it sort of impacted the growth from the get-go.
Yeah. To be very honest, we didn't think too much about EVM compatible chains. The only one that we thought about was Monad. Really love the Monad team, have a close friend that's working there right now. And like our interaction with Monad have been fantastic. And we like really thought long and hard about it. But as you can see, in order for this product to work, we want real stakes. So Monad to this day has a test token, right? Like we can't see real like behaviors and real stakes played out in real time if we use Monad. So at least for now, like using Solana is for that reason. But something else that we learned is if you look at these questions, it's not crypto related. A lot of them are not crypto related. And we're seeing that even though our users are crypto users, like they use crypto, their interest is mostly in seeing what other people think about like a live situation.
Yeah, it's interesting because you get to participate in the prediction markets in a way that, I'm just giving user feedback, I guess, is like, I've known about Polymarket since, I'm actually kind of kicking myself since like it first launched, but I never got into it because even though I'm like, I believe in the concept and I see the value, it's like a little scary. Yeah, it's a lot to think about. And then also like, even if I place the bet, like it's kind of, your upside is also capped, right? Because if you buy a yes, like tariffs will be lifted at 2 cents and it goes to 100, like there's a cap there, right? Whereas here it's like, it's just more fun. I don't really understand the economics yet, but it's just interesting. And I like seeing like what other people say more in the moment.
Yeah. So what we see is like we have consistently 500 to 800 daily active, and they aren't here for the gains. Like they are just curious about what people think, and then they discuss the questions in our community because I think it's funny. And then these are the questions. These are the same people that submit their own questions because I think it's interesting. We have one user, Grim. I think you might have seen my tweet yesterday. He had made like 400 questions on a spreadsheet.
And like, did someone create this one crazy about cactus? Think you know your cacti? It's a cactus themed deck, or did you guys make that
up? Our community manager did it. Like I think Tiago did it.
I love it.
But I think it's so fun. It's such a fun way to like get the community involved also in creating these things.
I don't know. Like, maybe he's been reading about cactus. I don't know why.
Is there a way to upload images too?
Yes,
no?
yes, there's ways to
Okay.
upload images. Like it will show up in like the bottom right corner.
Mm.
This is a free deck though. So as you can see, because we're testing out material, like you don't have to pay for this if you like are just
Yeah.
curious about cactus.
Yeah.
Well, I think I finished all the paid ones for today, and then it pushed me to the free ones. So now I'm just like
Yeah,
endlessly.
yeah.
He's hooked.
Yeah, I'm hooked. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have people that empty. You know how like on YouTube, there's people who like show their empty foundations. We have people that show us their empty chomp. They'll be
That's
like,
crazy.
I emptied it. Like, when are you putting out new questions?
More.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'm curious, from you launched the product. How did you get? You said you have daily 500 to 700 active users. You mentioned.
Yeah, 800 daily active. Since we launched the credits component, we've had probably, I think last I checked was like 16K, 17K people that have used it. And then
Nice.
all times, because we just launched the credits thing in February, mid-February, and then all time we've powered over 40,000 wallets using it.
Nice.
How did you get to
Norma.
this point? Or maybe
Yeah.
what caused the biggest spike? What would you say was the best sort of initiative that get you there?
Yeah, I think so. I think you guys might know like Drip. So
Mhm.
Vibu. So they're now a part of Jupe Mobile. So like he's a
Yep.
close friend, and I ask him for advice a lot. And like if you ask him, he will tell you there is no one way, right? There is no like one unlock that just like kind of gets you to skyrocket. That is luck, right? Like
Mm.
there's a lot of things a consumer product builder can try and combination and do together. Um, but it doesn't mean you can always intentionally create that lightning in a bottle. Like a lot of that is like the Chinese is like 天时地利人和. Like the timing has to be right. The people have to like it. There needs to be some kind of market opportunity, right? A lot has to be true, and that is out of our control. What we can do is to increase our surface level of touching that luck. And so for the first, so we won the Coliseum hackathon in May of last year. So Coliseum's first hackathon on Solana. We were like placed number 3 on the consumer track. And then we launched like our MVP, like a very bare bones version in June. And we did it with the help of Drip. Actually, we like launched the product on Drip's homepage. We have like a lot of IP, right? Like we have like Chompy, we have a like pixelated version of our character. If you go on our Twitter, you see a lot of our fans will make their own Chompy art, like on their own, just like for fun.
Chompy's great. Chompy's great.
So people love the character. So we launched it with like an NFT collectible platform because of that. And then for a long time between June and I would say like October, November of last year, it was just a lot of experiments of trying different things, and our user growth was like pretty non-significant. So what we saw for the first, because like we had a lot of momentum from winning hackathons, and then in July we won Bonkathon Grand Prize, which is the largest community hackathon on Solana. So we had people come in for that every time. But what we saw was we didn't have the right kind of catch for like for people to come back. Like we didn't have the right retention loops. So then in December we launched Mystery Box, and then we started to place emphasis on streaks. Previously we had streaks counting, but we didn't really like talk about it. But now we see everyone loves the streaks. We have one user that has over 300-day streak from day one of MVP. Like he's just streaking every day. And he recently, actually, Tolu, if you're watching, he recently had something happen at home, and like he's worried about his streaks, right? Like even though he has like this personal thing happen at home, so I DM'd him and was like, don't worry about it. We'll like try to, we'll do a special case for you, because you have something happen at home. Yeah, we have people who are really upset about losing their streak. Like they get angry about it and like they compete on it. So like
Streaks are a crazy phenomenon. That was like such a huge thing. I remember like when Snapchat streaks first took off. Like I have a much younger brother, and and he was like obsessed. And Duolingo, like the gamification is strong. It really works.
And then like the mystery box. So like you haven't gotten to that part of the
Yeah.
gameplay, Blake, but like in a few hours you can click onto a mystery box under the rewards tab, and then like
Yeah.
a champion will pop out and be like, hi, and then it will give you a certain amount of credit or bonk. So it's like you can
Nice.
go back in every day. You don't know how much you're gonna earn, and like
Oh, it's
that's
every day?
interesting.
It's like a nice little mystery.
If you play every day, you earn every day.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
think you
Okay,
got
I feel
Blake
like that
hooked
should be more
now.
obvious, because now I'm like, yeah, because I think that's a good retention tactic, because otherwise I'm like,
Yeah.
it's because at the end of the day, like, it's an insignificant amount of money, but unless you give me that reason to come back, I'm not like, oh, I want to come back every day and spend more money to maybe win. But if
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you're just rewarding me for playing, and there's a way of making that back, it makes more sense. Yeah.
So
Okay.
if you're playing for free, you may not get the money
Right,
back.
right. I get
Yeah.
that.
There are certain campaigns we run. So like when you said like what has worked out well, um, we have seen very significant retention if we kind of do a not like a one-off, like a prolonged campaign where like, okay, this week you need 3-day streak in order to get this like
Mhm.
small prize. Next week you need to like do
Mm.
this other thing, but like to bring them back,
Challenges.
bring them back as challenges over and over again. And then they start to see the things that, we're talking about today, that maybe like that's a lesson for us. Like
Mm.
it's not as obvious as spelled out in the product. But once they play for a few days, they start to see how they can earn and how the payout works and what they can get. And
Mm.
a lot of people start to come back more often. We also do fun challenges for we did a believe in something, like a lot of campaigns are linked
No.
to a new feature launch. We did believe in something. Blake was a part of that. Like we had a lot of people say like, oh, what is this thing, right? Why is everyone posting this purple image? We had Solana Foundation help with the tweet. And then for Easter, we actually celebrated our own champion artists. So we have an exclusive group of like around 30 30 like chompers, and they're called champions. And some of them are artists. So we had them create different versions of
Nice.
chompy art, and you can go on Drip and collect those chompy art and also chomp their decks. And at the end, you collect like a golden Easter egg, which is also designed by one of our champion artists. So we kind of try to, like, another thing about consumer product is you build loyalty, and once you have that loyalty, sometimes people are coming back for not just the
It's the
gameplay
community.
itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have been able to build probably one of the strongest brand loyalty that at least I've seen, right? I'm obviously tooting our own horn here, but I don't see, like, maybe like Pudgy is another one, right?
No.
Of course, Pudgy is like much more established, but we have not seen another consumer brand
Yeah.
in Web3 that like has a strong like identity and like a
Yeah.
character and a following in this way. I don't know, I'm gonna stop. Like, Blake, have you seen other kind of type of consumer products like this?
Not really. I think you're one of the very few consumer. I've had this conversation a lot in the past month of like I was
Oh,
very bullish on
really?
consumer crypto. No, just in general. Like I think it's something I was always excited about. Like finance and DeFi is definitely what brought me into the space. But I
Hmm.
do believe like long term we need more consumer applications. Everyone
Yeah,
talks about it, right? But then the issue is nobody funds it. And then even the people who like want to do it, like there just
yeah,
aren't that many, and it's a totally different way of building, I think, than like
yeah,
just like what people in crypto are used to. So
yeah,
yeah, basically my hot take is like, or I don't even know if it's a hot take, like there aren't enough consumer apps, and I think there was like a hype bubble a year or two ago. um we need more of it, and I think you guys are doing a great job of it. So yeah, I haven't seen that many other consumer apps basically that I can
Can
point to
I
that aren't
just a
overly
question?
financialized.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking also just from the perspective of, if I'm working with a brand on Solana, let's say, I see a lot of value in, maybe creating my own
yeah.
quiz. The same example as why you asked us about Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid could create their own deck. Is that something that you guys are focusing on or planning to focus on?
Yeah, so in the beginning, that was the most clear PMF. Like immediately after we launched the product, we got a lot of inbound from businesses that want to work with us in that way. And we did that, but there's a few reasons why we aren't doing so much of it anymore. One is it actually does not help with platform retention. Because imagine if one question is about BTC on Solana, and the next question is about like, I don't know, like a B game, like some random like heroes game, right?
It
These are
becomes too like, it's not fun anymore. It's like you're
right.
kind
It's
of user research for companies.
yeah, it's not
Yeah.
fun anymore. And like those users, they don't like each other's products. Sometimes they just like drop off and they start to like the user community from one product is not going to translate to a community of a different product. So you see, and then we become typecasted as a survey tool. So people will drop off very, very closely. So, but it will be different if in the future we have a lot of content and like only a sprinkle of them are business content, right? Or like a sprinkle of them are like more like native advertising or like targeted feedback, targeted research. So we actually had worked with over 40 different brands, including Solana themselves. We've done like audience engagement. We've done like kind of programming with like live programming interactions. We've done user research. We've done native advertising. But after that, we actually decided to focus on kind of the questions that you're playing with today. Like, are you a Karen? Because those questions allow users, like individual retail users, to come back. And if we can get 40 inbounds when we had at the time like 5,000 total users, we can obviously get it if we get to like 10,000, 20,000, 50,000.
So would you say right now that's like the main focus is like beyond the monetization, you know, through like partner with companies, is really just about like growing the community, growing DAUs as much as humanly possible, and then eventually you can kind of turn on those pipes in a responsible way, you know. And then the cool part is, you know, it's eventually presumably it's a decentralized community with some kind of ownership governance in some form too, right? So then, you know, everyone wins, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so growing the users, and like another piece of like data I'll throw in there is over 20% of our users are paying users, which is very high for a casual game, like if you think about
And
it.
you mean paying users and like and buying credits and stuff, right?
They're buying credits. And there are certain ways for people to like, you know, in different campaigns, they can do certain things to like get some free credits. And the conversion between people who have spent a credit to paying is over 80%. So like once they get into this habit of like actually spending, you know, they're doing it. But then that also means we have like 70-ish% of people that are playing the free decks, right? They're earning nothing. So yeah, a part of it could be they think they can get points or whatever, but part of it is because the content is probably sticky enough for them to come back. So the next thing that we want to do, like you said, growing our user base, is to downplay like what chain we're on and to downplay some of the crypto components. So yeah, we are going to work on a mobile native app with like a lot more obvious abstractions. But that's gonna take time. So it's not going to be immediate. Is like you're hearing this probably like many months before it's ready. But yeah, so that's the next thing we're working on, and actually that allows us to actually niche down, because the reason that our content is like, you know, cactus and Karens, right? The reason that our content is like this today is because we already have to play in a niche by having Solana, you know, having a wallet requirement, you know, having, you know, bonk, you know, all these different terminologies. You are already playing in a niche of like a small group of users. So then
small group of small group.
Yeah. So if you niche down further, there's like no users, right? So we can't niche down our content further. But if we have an abstracted version of the app, we can niche down on content, because there's a lot of people who will probably, you know, watch a YouTube video or watch a TikTok video and be like, this girl's a Karen, right? Like she's a bitch or whatever. Or she's, you know, and like that's the target we're playing into. Is much broader and wider, and it just happens to have this like crypto component under the hood.
I love it.
I can see how this can play out on TikTok, because there's a whole wave of these consumer apps just going crazy with all the ambassadors.
When TikTok strategy.
Oh, coming is coming. You know, we should jam on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
yeah.
I do want to be respectful of time here. I can go over a little bit if that's okay with you, Kiko,
Yeah,
because I
I'm
think
okay.
what we should probably do is would love to, as we start to wrap this up, right? I think really exciting stuff. I think you've already kind of leaked a little bit out in terms of, mobile app coming up. Um, at the same time, I think you were alluding to other chains, or I guess it's the abstraction of chain abstraction altogether,
The abstraction.
right?
Yeah, yeah. It
And then I
shouldn't
guess,
matter. It shouldn't
yeah,
matter what chain. Yeah.
I agree. And then there is a question of like long term, like is the app going to be the focus? Is there like a B2B element with all the data and the information?
Yeah.
Or is that still like TBD? Or how are you guys thinking about
Uh,
that?
it's not TBD. It's
Yeah,
pretty obvious actually.
yeah,
We are building towards a primitive, right?
yeah.
And our product is a flagship front end that shows other people how they can build on our primitive.
Mm,
So this product right now is a quiz app. In the future, it will be some kind of like more UGC content, like social
yeah.
consumer product. We have the first product that is building on us that will be launching in June. It's called
Oh,
Melee Markets. They're using us as an oracle to resolve their markets. Um,
nice.
and yeah, so actually the one of the co-founders of that used to work at Monad. But like that's how he like actually we were in one of those conversations. That's how he learned more about our product and
Ah,
what we're building. We have interest from different prediction
yeah,
markets, different opinion markets that want to use us to resolve. We think in the future this could be a really cool decentralized community nodes like feed product.
yeah.
We want to put a B2B like form factor on top of it so a business can commission information and they can do more targeted commission. So think about like
Mm,
decentralized cookies, right? I want to
mm-hmm,
ask questions from this demographic, but also they have answered correctly or incorrectly to these series of questions before. So I can search for that and
oh.
I can be a lot more precise and targeted in the way I expose and and obtain information on this platform.
Which, by the way, is another question that kind of came to mind was like, as let's say Blake, I connected like one of my main wallets, right,
Yeah,
to this, and I'm starting to answer questions and build my own profile. Like,
yeah.
how much of that can I guess, like, is it all just, I guess it's all, how much is on chain, I guess I'm realizing, like, I didn't think about this because I technically am buying
Yeah.
credits and then how do you like segment the users? I guess it's purely just on what questions they answer and how they respond to them, I guess. Is that the right way to think
Yeah,
about it?
there will be. Yeah, there will be. So Q&A is pretty flexible, right? We right
Yeah,
now for every single Q&A, we have this like first, second order answer, but you
yeah,
don't need that. So if I'm just asking you about your demo, you don't need to be like, I think other people are, like from New York, right? Like
yeah.
that doesn't really matter. So those demo questions will kind of be added in the future version of the product, and it will
Mm,
be all opt-in, and there will be a privacy layer on top. So like on
mm,
Solana. There's RCM, which is
yeah,
one of our partners. So like we give users the ability to opt in and out of like sharing certain
nice.
information. None of that is on chain right now because we're waiting for the other products to be ready.
Yeah,
But the intent is for users to have flexibility of being private or not being private. There are not that many people that cares about privacy, but once they do care, they care a lot. So
yeah, yeah. It's about giving the option, I think, more than anything.
yeah,
We've thought a lot about data privacy and like future marketing, and so that's kind of the conclusion we came to as well. Everyone says they care, but nobody really cares. Like,
yeah,
except the
yeah.
small amount that do.
Yeah, so
Mm,
we do want to move a lot of these things on chain. Right now, Melee Markets, the first product that's building on us, is interacting through an API. But we will be moving kind of our Oracle engines, right? Our mechanism, the way we
mhm,
calculate these outputs, we'll put that on chain, hopefully soon. But the sequencing is we want to build this next native app first,
yeah,
and then we are actually going to build a AI agent like Chompy bot
yes,
that we actually have the art for it already as a like a robot Chompy. Um, and and Chompy will be kind of talking to you to help you shape the question you want to ask, or maybe help you
yes.
search from previous questions, or some be your companion for when you need it. And then we are going to think about like the on-chain primitive portion and start to focus on B2B sales. My co-founder has a pretty extensive network in advertising, actually. He himself, his own network, his family, or like they'll have that network. I have like a more creative agency network, which is like a bit different, but more like front loaded, right, in terms of what they might need. But both of those can be, they can commission information through a product like ours.
I love that. This is exciting. Big brain stuff, big visions, but you make it fun and make it cute,
And
you know?
make it cute, yeah, or make it
Yeah.
sexy. Actually, that's a question for you guys. Do you think
Yeah.
people are more likely to engage with something if it's cute or sexy?
I think it depends on what you're trying to do. I think sex appeal, it depends, right? Like there's a reason gambling and porn are two of the biggest industries in the world, right? Money, sex, power. They drive a lot of, unfortunately, human behavior. But at the same time, you could argue that cute really works because look at Hello Kitty,
But look at
Sanrio,
Chompy.
and look at Chompy.
Yeah.
No, so I'm just saying it depends on what incentive. What is it? What's the quote? One of our guests said it, and it's a famous one. It's like, show me the incentive, and I'll show you the outcomes, or something like that, right? So I think it's really about the incentive, and then we could talk about, is cute or sexy the right way to do it? But for you, I would not say, I don't think Chomp should go sexy, if that's the question. I think.
Well, there is a potential outcome of Chompy just like, not being a part of the future product, right? Like in that case, I'll be really sad. A lot of Chompy fans will be sad, but like it's possible.
Yeah. I think that's a bigger like brand strategy question, which we could probably take offline if you want to jam on it with Nicole and some friends, and more than happy to talk about it. Okay. Last thing, we always have rapid fire questions at the end, so I think let's go rapidly through them. Pauline, do you want to ask them, or do you want me to?
I can do that. Okay. First one is the most underrated marketing tactic right now in Web3.
I don't know if it's underrated, just like talking to your users one-on-one, one by one.
You'd be surprised. Yeah. It's really important. Not everyone does that.
What's the most overrated one?
Airdrops.
Yeah.
Okay. Which crypto brand or project is crushing it now?
Kaito.
Makes sense. Pros and cons.
Yeah. And sort of the last one, looking back at the past year or so, what was your biggest learning as a Web3 marketer and now founder?
My biggest learning is probably, that's really hard. That's a hard one. This is a rapid fire.
It's how we always end. Every guest we've ever had since the beginning in all 3 seasons, we've asked this question, and I love it.
Yeah.
This is a bit more introspective.
Yeah. So this is a probably personal learning. Is hear everything your user has to say, but you don't have to listen to all of it.
Oh, wow, that's a good one. That's a good quote. Yeah, fear everything your user has to say, but you don't have to incorporate all of it. What was you don't have to do all of it. You don't have to listen to all of it. Makes sense. I think that's the biggest problem that so many founders face. Yeah. Everyone's got here's a quote I use all the time. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. But it doesn't mean you have to listen.
You have it on the website, no?
Yeah, it's a part of our product. It's a part of our website because it's an opinion quiz question.
Oh, it's I love it.
Yeah.
It's like you click on the link and it's there. Like
it's there. So I think a good user researcher takes everything in, right? It's kind of like hard to like a lot of good user researchers, they're actually very unopinionated individuals because they need to absorb, they need to hear what everyone thinks. But then you also see like a lot of product builders who are like very uncompromising about their vision. So like I hate to be super cliche, it's a balancing act. My co-founder is a lot more like kind of like focused, and I'm a lot more like taking everything in. But like we're like trying to come somewhere together, like we're trying to converge.
Nice.
I love that.
Thanks so much, Kiko. And I think the
Thank
last one
you.
is, where can everyone find you, right?
Yeah, what's the
She'll-
call to action? Where can people find you? This is your shill zone. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at kzizzle, KAYZIZZLE. You can find my co-founder and I Accelerate next week. I will be on stage co-hosting you guys and welcoming you guys on Thursday. And then actually on Wednesday, there is a Solana Spaces pop-up at 5 p.m. I will be doing a DGen trivia. We're making some purple jello drinks if you want to come and take a
That's
shot.
how you get people in.
Yeah. So
That'll be fun.
answer some DGen questions, get some free shots, and maybe some free Chompy prizes. Next
Let's
Wednesday,
go.
see you there.
I love it. See you there.
Awesome.
All right. Well, with that, thank you so much, Kiko. This is a really great conversation. I really enjoyed a lot of your responses and just how like thoughtful you are, I think, especially when it comes to what you're building in information markets. So this is great. We'll see you online. I'll see you next week
Yeah.
here in New York.
See you soon.
And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much.
Excellent.
Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Paulina, for having me. Talk to you soon. Chomp, chomp.
Of course. Talk to you soon.